to take a minute to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about how I got started and share a few tips that might help you with your game. For starters, I'm reaching out to you from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which is where I first picked up a bow a little over 2.5 years ago. My start in the sport was a little unconventional. I picked up a bow to get rid of a predator problem, and I started practicing in the backyard, and after that I was immediately hooked. From there, my husband encouraged me to enter some local tournaments, which I did pretty well in, and basically the rest is history. I made the personal decision to go pro almost immediately, and the ability to do that is something that's unique to archery, and I took advantage of that because I knew I wanted to become one of the best, and I thought competing with the best would raise my expectations and create a deeper need for high-level training, and that would fast-track me to my goals. I currently compete in World Cup Indoor Archery and NFAA during the winter months. Then I transitioned to my first love, which is 3D archery, for the rest of the year. And if I'm not shooting, I'm thinking about shooting, or I'm teaching archery to someone else. So if I could share with you a top pro tip, it would be confidence. Get some. But before we look at what builds confidence, let's look at what tears it down, and that's fear. We all have fears or anxiety associated with competition. The trick is to figure out what's at the source of your fear. For many of us, it boils down to an expectation of performance. In your mind, you believe that you have to achieve a certain score or fill in the blank. That blank is some perceived negative outcome that is tied to your failed expectation. For example, if you're afraid of letting someone down, like a sponsor, family, or anyone that you believe expects you to perform at a certain level. But listen to me carefully, because I'm about to impart to you a universal truth of archery. Nobody cares. It really is true. All of these expectations that you put on yourself about performance are completely made up in your own mind. Let it go. Here's another archery truth. Whatever tournament that you're competing in or preparing for right now is probably not your last. So how does that help you? Well, it means that the stakes are extremely low. If you don't perform to your potential this weekend, you'll have another chance. The idea that it's got to be all or nothing right now is a performance killer. Maybe this is a big event. Maybe this is your last chance for a world championship. Even so, you have to find a way to talk yourself down from the ledge by devaluing the event. And for that, you need to find value in yourself outside of archery, but that's a whole other pro tip for a later time. Now that we've talked about what tears down confidence, let's look at what things build it. One of the simplest and most practical things you can do is to commit to doing all of your own equipment tuning. I challenge you to find a serious male competitor that doesn't tune his own equipment. When you know your equipment inside and out, you inherently trust it, and that trust transfers directly into confidence in your equipment and your shot. Also, if you know your equipment intimately, then you immediately know when something's off, and you can fix it on the spot. If you're not already managing your own equipment and you're a serious competitor, there will come a day when something goes wrong and your personal bow pro, whoever he is, won't be there to fix it. You're the only person that can shoot your bow for score. You should be the only person that tunes it to shoot it as well. Another great confidence builder is learning how to redefine success. We've all been taught that numbers don't lie, and it's very easy to correlate your skill as an archer to your score, and that's partially true, but it's also a trap. Once you subconsciously believe that you're only as good as your score, it becomes very hard to improve your score. Sounds like an impossible situation, but it's really not. You break through by redefining what success means to you. Personally, when I practice or compete, I have 2 or 3 small goals that I try to focus on, and the achievement of those goals is how I perceive my ultimate success at that particular event. So for example, I may set a goal to make sure that my bow hand stays soft and I stay hard on the wall through my shot. If I do that 19 out of 20 times, that's a win. The next practice or tournament, I may change it up. The key is to break down all the components of your game and work on each individually. Then the collective pieces eventually elevate the whole game. And we all know if you focus on the result, the score in this case, then you never improve the mechanics that produce the desired result. Pro athletes in every sport train this way. How often do you think pro basketball players practice a whole game? It's not very often. How often do you think they practice dribbling, free throws, or layups? All the time. So break down the individual components and define success by the achievement of those smaller goals. Then one day soon you'll notice that the score will start rising too. So in addition to gaining confidence in your equipment, you've got to gain confidence in your shooting ability. And that develops through consistent practice. And during that practice, you have to celebrate every success and stop tearing yourself down. In my opinion, that's one of the best ways to improve. Simply start calling out the things you're doing right and stop trash talking yourself. There are a lot of great books out there to help you with this, including With Winning in Mind and 14 Steps to Mental Toughness. And this is tied to a third thing that builds confidence: keeping good company. Because not only should you focus on your own success, you should build a team of people who also support you by motivating you and teaching you and pushing you to stretch yourself and keep you moving forward, especially when your own motivation wavers a bit. I could talk to you about confidence and mental training all day, but I'll end my time with you here and just say that if there's anything I can ever do to help you in your game, please don't hesitate to ask, and I hope you'll keep checking back with us here on arcHER for more pro tips.